Hare Krishna. Puja Mataji will take control. Hare Krishna.
Our morning Bhagavatam session. A very auspicious day. We are starting from chapter number 13 today. Chapter number 12, we saw how birth of Emperor Parikshit we discussed. And Vibhuti Mataji, if you can please mute. So we saw chapter number 12, birth of Parikshit Maharaj. And a beautiful celebration. Brahmanas were offering prayers. They they were glorifying the qualities of Parikshit Maharaj, how great ruler or how great king he will be, and all the different qualities. And then the chapter ends, chapter number 12, which describes the birth, the pastime of Parikshit Maharaj. And after that, the question asked to the sages, to Suta Goswami in the Naimisharanya, was that describe the birth and activities of Parikshit Maharaj. Remember, in the 6th chapter or long time back, we discussed the question, describe the birth and activities of Parikshit Maharaj. So birth was mentioned in the chapter number 12. And now to describe the activities of Parikshit Maharaj as a king, how Parikshit Maharaj became the king, that needs to be described. So how Parikshit Maharaj became the king, that are certain incidents, certain situations that led, the events that led for him to become a king. And what were they? We will see that in chapter number 13, which we are starting now. Dhritarashtra is quitting home. Then Krishna is chapter number 14, Krishna's departure from this world. Chapter number 15, Pandavas retire, and then Parikshit Maharaj becomes the king. So it's the event that leads how Parikshit Maharaj becomes the king and how he is ruling. To come to that point, the incidents or the events in the middle, they were being described. Now, let's start with text number 1. Actually, we can do 1 and 2 together also. So chapter number 13, title is Dhritarashtra quitting home. We are reading text number 1. Suta Vacha Vidurastirtha Yatrayam Maitreyadatmano Gatim Gnatva Gadhastinapuram Taya Vapta Vivitsitaha. कौन है? Aditi Mataji, you want to read the English translation?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation. Sri Suta Goswami said, while traveling on a pilgrimage, Vidura received knowledge of the destination of the self from the great sage Maitreya and then returned to Hastinapura. He became as well versed in the subject as he desired.
Thank you. So you'll see a sudden shift. Birth of Parikshit Maharaj, Hastinapur, the joyous festival was happening. And now suddenly, Suta Goswami is saying, while traveling on a pilgrimage, Vidura received the knowledge from Maitreya Muni and returns to Hastinapur. So suddenly, what happens here is the story changes to Vidura coming back to Hastinapur. It's if you do, Prabhupada writes in the purport, about the story of Vidura, what is happening, how his birth, his incarnation as Yamraj, Yamraj. Prabhupada writes all the connections, because if you don't know the story, then it will be very difficult for us to understand what is happening. It's very important, especially for me, when I am reading Bhagavatam, when I am studying, or when I am trying to understand the message, I stay in the context. क्या हो रहा है, हम कहाँ पे हैं, कौन बात कर रहा है. So here the sages, the Suta Goswami is speaking to the sages and why they are talking. And if we understand the whole situation, who is speaking, in what context, what is the pastime, then when we read the purport of Srila Prabhupada, we understand what is the practical learning point for us. It's very important. So here Srila Prabhupada writes about Vidura. So here क्या हो रहा है कि Vidura there are two things mentioned. One is Vidura's this pastime, like what he was doing now, and one is the previous incarnation. So in previous incarnation, Vidura, the pastime is mentioned. His incarnation of Yamraj. Vidura is incarnation of Yamraj. But how Yamraj incarnated as a son of a maid servant, and why he was living as a Dasi Putra in the palace, the whole story Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport. The Manduka Muni, the story comes of the curse by Manduka Muni. So what happened in the Mandika Muni's ashram, in the hermitage, there were once some thieves, some robbers, they were hiding in his ashram. And when the police or the people in charge of that particular area, when the police came looking for the thief or the robbers, when they came to the Manduka Muni ashram, very great sage, and Manduka Muni's ashram, they caught hold of all the thieves. Along with the thieves, they caught hold of Manduk Muni as well. And when they took Manduk Muni and along with the thieves to the judge, the magistrate ordered Manduk Muni to be killed by the spear, like a lance, they call it, like a long stick with the metal spear, bhala hum bolte hain, like that very long stick with the metal pointed with a lance. The magistrate ordered Manduk Muni to be killed. And Manduk Muni asked, why is this punishment for me? Why I have to be killed like this? And then Manduk Muni goes to Yamraj and he says, why I have to be killed like this? I am a great sage. I haven't done anything wrong. And Yamraj says that when you are a young boy, when a young child, you pierced one ant with that like a stick, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, straw, like a sharp straw, you pierced an ant when you are a young child. And that's why, as a karma, as a reaction to that action, you are bound now to be killed by a long spear or a lance. But Manduk Muni gets angry. He said, I was a child. I had no idea what is right or wrong. I was a baby. In my childish action, I made some mistake, and the reaction to this is coming to me as being killed by the lance now. So, what happens? Manduk Muni puts a curse on Yamraj that you are behaving like this. I curse you to become a son of a maid servant and go to the earth planet and become a son of a maid servant in birth. And that's how uh, Vidura takes birth. Yamraj takes birth as Vidura incarnation and as the son of a maid servant. Now, when Vidura was in the palace along with Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, and all the atrocities being performed by the Kauravas towards Pandavas. Vidura was instructing many times Lakshagra pastime, Draupadi disrobing pastime, all these atrocities were performed. Vidura was instructing many times, don't do this, this is not right, this is not a proper behavior, this should not be done. And all these times, the Dhritarashtra was not listening. At one particular time before the war, when Vidura was instructing to Dhritarashtra that this atrocities towards Pandavas should not be done, one particular time, Duryodhan gets very angry on him, and he says, "Who invited you to give instruction? किसने बुलाया था आपको? And you are a son of a maid servant. Look at this. You are being taken care by us. We are feeding you. You are living in our palace, and you are supporting Pandavas. You are supporting an enemy. Throw him out immediately from the palace." Duryodhana instructs the soldier, toss him out. It will come in third canto, right? In the first chapter. Third canto of Bhagavatam, first chapter describes all this. Then Duryodhan gets upset and he says, throw him out from the palace immediately. And Vidura at that time considers this as an blessing of Krishna. And so before the war starts, Vidura goes for a pilgrimage. He goes to Dwarka, Ayodhya, Mathura, Prabhakshetra, whatever places he goes, everything is mentioned nicely in third canto of Srimad Charita, first second chapter he goes. So Vidura goes on a pilgrimage. At that time, after the war finishes, the Kurukshetra war is finished, Duryodhana is killed, Pandavas are established as a king. At that time, after the war, now Vidura comes back to Hastinapur. Vidura comes back. And why he is coming back? Not because, okay, Duryodhana is dead, Yudhishthir and the Pandavas, whom I loved so much, they are the ruling, so I can go and comfortably stay in the palace now. Not because of that consciousness that he want to enjoy in the forest. Vidura especially comes back. When he was in a pilgrimage, he meets Uddhava, he meets Maitreya Muni, he meets Krishna, and he reads and learns Srimad Bhagavatam as well. There he learns all the spiritual knowledge. And that is what, if you read the verse, that now it will make sense with the story, that while traveling on a pilgrimage, so Vidura was on a pilgrimage. Vidura received the knowledge of the destination of himself from great sage Maitreya, and then he returns to Hastinapur and he became well versed in this subject. So he got this knowledge, he comes back to the palace especially to save Dhritarashtra. वो जो knowledge है Dhritarashtra as an affection towards a brother, to give the spiritual knowledge to brother Dhritarashtra, that's why Vidura comes back with a very specific purpose. ठीक है, so let's see what happens next. Text number 2.
I'll try, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. यावत् कृत्वानां प्रश्नान् शताकोश रवाग्रतः जातक भक्तिर्गोविन्दे तेभ्य अस कोपरारामः. Translation. Jai Shri Prabhupada. After asking various questions and becoming established in the transcendental loving service of Lord Krishna, Vidura retired from putting questions to Maitreya Muni. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So while Vidura came back, are you all understanding the story where this, because this is a sudden shift from birth of Parikshit Maharaj se Vidura ka story aa raha hai. It's a, if you just read the sloka you get confused. अरे अभी तो परीक्षित महाराज का जन्म हुआ, अभी हमें लगता है कि वो स्कूल में जाएगा, टीनेज लाइफ जिएगा, ट्रेनिंग करेगा. In our mind we'll think that Parikshit Maharaj childhood pastimes will be described, but suddenly Vidura's pastime comes because Vidura came to especially save Dhritarashtra. And what happens when he comes and he talks to this rest of the chapter talks about Vidura's conversation with Yudhishthir Maharaj as well as Dhritarashtra. Vidura tells to Dhritarashtra, you are living like a dog. जिनको तुमने मारने का प्रयत्न किया ना, you were trying to kill Pandavas in that palace of Pandavas. You are living like a dog. Bhima is throwing you rotis and you are shamelessly eating rotis. And that's how, very harsh words Vidura is using for Dhritarashtra, and tries to enlighten him कि फैमिली अटैचमेंट, पैलेस में रहना बहुत हो गया, अपने बच्चों का, फैमिली का, ये सब, नाउ बिकम सीरियस इन भक्ति. सो विदुरा वॉज इंस्ट्रक्टिंग Dhritarashtra long time ago, many times, even before the war, all the time when Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan were performing all these abominable actions towards them, every time Vidura was instructing them. But finally, in this particular chapter, Dhritarashtra, the title is Dhritarashtra quits home. So after hearing the instructions from Vidura, that don't live a life like this shamelessly, become serious in bhakti, do some spiritual realization, and finally Dhritarashtra quits home. And that's why it is mentioned in this particular chapter that we, just like Vidura was keeps on saying, bolta rehta tha, he was kept on instructing Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, but finally now one instruction it clicked to Dhritarashtra. Even though he has said many times before, don't do this, finally this one instruction it clicked. that okay, I understand, I have to, and then instead of living the comfortable life in the palace, Dhritarashtra quits home. So this is a practical application and learning point for all of us, that कई बार especially भक्ति वृक्षा member सबको बोलते रहते हैं, माला करो, माला करो, माला करो, भगवत गीता पढ़ो, भागवतम पढ़ो. Even I tell all of you, भागवतम purports पढ़ो, प्रभुपाद के purports are so beautiful, पढ़ो पढ़ो. We have to keep on telling. Sometimes some members also, they tell to their parents, they tell to their cousin or brothers or even children, beta mala karo, like that. Same way, like Vidura was kept on instructing, kept on. But finally, which message, when it will click? कब कहाँ क्लिक हो जाएगा, we don't know, but somehow it will happen. So that's why we don't have to lose hope. We hear and we learn from this Vidura instructing Dhritarashtra quitting home pastime, that we have to keep on instructing. We don't have to give up hope. Which message clicks when, we don't know, but sometimes it will happen. And that's why here, even in text too, actually the one which we read, it says Vidura, after asking various questions to Maitreya Muni. So during his pilgrimage, when he meets Uddhava and Maitreya Muni, he instructs them. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport of text number 2 that it is very important for a spiritual person जिसको भक्ति में आगे बढ़ना है, it's very important for a person to accept as a guru, bona fide guru. कोई प्रामाणिक bona fide authorized गुरु की शरण में जाना कंपलसरी है, ऑप्शनल नहीं है. कि कोई जाना चाहता है, भक्ति में आगे बढ़ना चाहता है, तो गुरु की शरण में जा सकता है. इट्स नॉट एन ऑप्शनल थिंग. इफ a person wants to progress in spirituality, Prabhupada writes, Bhakti unto Govinda, last line of this purport. Prabhupada writes, if a person wants to achieve ultimate aim, which is bhakti unto Govinda, bhakti for Krishna, one must take shelter of a guru. Without that, there is no option. Just like here, Maitreya Muni takes the shelter, Vidura takes the shelter of Maitreya Muni and his instruction. Prabhupada writes the word very, very strongly. It's don't become a show bottle devotee. Show bottle मतलब सिर्फ दिखावा मत करो अपनी भक्ति का. अगर सही में भक्ति में आगे बढ़ना है तो गुरु की शरण में जाना जरूरी है. एंड ऑन टॉप ऑफ दैट, एंड एक्सेप्टिंग समवन एज अ शिक्षा गुरु और दीक्षा गुरु, डोंट बी, प्रभुपाद राइट्स, व्हाट्स द पॉइंट ऑफ बिकमिंग ए शो बॉटल गुरु और ए शो बॉटल डिसाइपल. शो बॉटल मतलब अपने टिक बॉक्स के लिए, मेरे पास भी है गुरु है, सबने गुरु किया, मेरे पास भी गुरु है. नॉट लाइक दैट शो बॉटल और टिक बॉक्स गुरु कि बे टिक बॉक्स मैं भी डिसाइपल, मेरा भी इनिशिएशन हो गया. Prabhupada writes the point of here, just here Vidura took instructions, inquired from Maitreya Muni. In the same way, in our life as well, we need to progress in bhakti, we need to develop love for Krishna. For that, taking shelter of a bona fide guru is very important. It's not an optional thing. And having a guide, having a guru, Siksha Guru or Diksha Guru in our life, where he can guide us, and he or she can guide us, and on top of that, we follow the instructions. That is being highlighted by Srila Prabhupada in this purport, from this Vidura and Maitreya Muni and Dhritarashtra pastime. 654. Let's see text number 3. 3 and 4 are together.
Mere Prabhu.
Yeah, Mataji, yes.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Tam bandhum agatam drushtva dharmaputra sahanuja dhritarashtra yutsuscha sutaha sharadvatah prita gandhari draupadi brahman subhadra chottara kripi anyas jamaya pandor Gnataya Shushuta Striya. Translation. When they saw Vidura return to the palace, all the inhabitants, Maharaja Yudhishthira, his younger brothers, Dhritarashtra, Satyaki, Sanjaya, Kripacharya, Kunti, Gandhari, Draupadi, Shubhadra, Uttara, Kripi, Many other wives of the Kauravas and other ladies with children all hurried to him in great delight. It so appeared that they had regained their consciousness after a long period.
So here, Srila Prabhupada writes about in the purport descriptions of all these great personalities. Here it is said that when Vidura comes back from the pilgrimage, when Vidura is coming back from the pilgrimage, all these personalities, Maharaj Yudhishthir, younger brothers, Dhritarashtra, Satyaki, Sanjaya, Kripacharya, Kunti, Gandhari, Draupadi, Subhadra, Uttara, Kripi, all of them, they become very happy. They become very happy to receive uh, Vidura while he is coming back to the palace. Srila Prabhupada writes, who was the Gandhari, all the details about Gandhari, Draupadi, Pritha, then Subhadra, some of them personalities. Prabhupada writes all the stories. So read in your time whenever you get an opportunity. Prabhupada purports are very enlightening, lot of learning points, and the main theme happening here is everyone is becoming very happy when Vidura is coming back to the palace. Let's read 5 and 6 together. Anyone wants to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, that was pronounced. Can I read, Prabhu?
Yes.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Pratyujagmuhu praharshena pranam tanva evagatam abhisangamya vidhivat parishvanga abhivadaneh. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. With great delight, they all approached him as if life had returned to their bodies. They exchanged obeisances and welcomed each other with embraces. Mumuchuhu prema bashpaudham viraha autakanthya kataraha raja tam arhayam chakre kritasan parigraham. Translation. Due to anxieties and long separation, they all cried out of affection. King Yudhishthir then arranged to offer sitting accommodations and a reception. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. So everyone loved in the family Vidura so much. It is mentioned, in text number 5, that just like when the soul goes out of the body becomes inactive. In the same way, when Vidura went out on a pilgrimage from the palace, the family, everyone in the family, they became inactive. They are missing him so much. And now when Vidura is coming back, everyone loved him so much, so they were very happy to welcome him. And text number 6, Yudhishthir Maharaj arranges very proper reception and he offers a sitting accommodation for him. So proper welcoming Yudhishthir Maharaj is arranging for Vidura when he comes back from pilgrimage. 659. Let's do one more. 7. Verse 7. Anyone?
Should I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, Radhika Mataji.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Tam bhuktvantam vishrantam ashinam sukhamasane prashraya vanato raja prahatesham cha shrinvatam. After Vidura ate sumptuously and took sufficient rest, he was comfortably seated. Then the king began to speak to him, and all who were present there listened. Hare Krishna.
Yes. So what's happening now? Everyone welcomed him. Vidura comes back to the palace from the pilgrimage and Yudhishthir Maharaj arranges a proper reception. So Vidura, after he ate sumptuously, अच्छे से proper, prasadam, then he took sufficient rest and then he was comfortably seated and then king began to speak to him. So now the rest of the chapter, it talks about so Vidura is coming back, naha liya, khana kha liya, aaram kar liya, and then Yudhishthir Maharaj is talking, and then Vidura is also talking to Dhritarashtra. So all the conversation happening. We will see tomorrow what instructions or what the conversation was between Yudhishthir Maharaj and Vidura, as well as Vidura and Dhritarashtra, and how Vidura is talking to Dhritarashtra inspires him to quit the palace. And after that, we'll see even Gandhari leaves the palace, and Vidura also leaves the palace. So suddenly, what happens? Abhi Yudhishthir Maharaj, he was morose before because he was thinking himself as the cause of all the soldiers were killed in the battlefield. So at that time, Bhishma Dev pacified him. And now again, when Dhritarashtra is quitting home, Gandhari is quitting home, Vidura is quitting home without telling anyone, suddenly they disappear from the palace. They go away. And again Yudhishthir Maharaj thinks himself as, oh, मैंने उनका अच्छे से सेवा नहीं किया, अच्छे से ध्यान नहीं रखा, and that's why they left the palace. And how they will maintain, they have been living in the palace, how they can live without this, and how they will be maintaining in this situation. At that time, pehle, when Yudhishthir Maharaj was needed to be pacified, Bhishma Dev comes. Krishna takes him to Bhishma Dev and pacifies. Now Yudhishthir Maharaj again becomes sorrow, and this time Narad Muni comes. Narad Muni comes and pacifies Yudhishthir Maharaj. And he says, very beautiful verses it will come, that युधिष्ठिर महाराज इज आस्किंग हाउ दे विल मेंटेन, और मैं इतना अच्छे से ध्यान नहीं रख पाया, मैं उनका ध्यान रखता था पैलेस में. And Narad Muni says, it is Krishna who maintains always. Krishna has made such an arrangement. Jiva jivasya jivanam. One living entity is depending on another living entity. Just like for us, for example, we eat vegetables, fruits, and all the greens. One living entity is depending the living on another living entity. In the same way, Krishna is the actual maintainer. Krishna has made the arrangement to look after everyone. Why do you think they are on their path of bhakti? Now you focus on your part. Let them progress in bhakti in their own way. You focus on your part. Like that, Narad Muni comes and pacifies Yudhishthir Maharaj. When Vidura come back from the pilgrimage after going to Ayodhya, Mathura, Dwarka, at this particular time, Krishna has already departed from the planet. But Vidura doesn't inform this to Yudhishthir Maharaj. And then when they were talking, Arjuna comes back from Dwarka and Arjuna is sad. And then Yudhishthir Maharaj, next chapter comes how Krishna's departure. So very beautiful pastime. We will see what talks happen between Vidura and Yudhishthir, and Vidura and Dhritarashtra as well tomorrow, starting from tomorrow. All right, I will pause here. Sorry for the technical glitches. You are getting the storyline connection? Kya ho raha hai? Where we are? Sitting in the palace where Vidura is coming.
Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, can you highlight about the Bhisham Panchak, which is starting from today? Just
Bhishma Panchak is the 5 days normally. I think this year it comes 4, isn't it? Because of the two combined. But is the 5 days when Lord Bhishma was preparing to leave the body and focusing completely on Krishna. So for the devotees also, they take up as the opportunity to reduce. Some people do fasting, some people do more reading, association of devotees, serving devotees. There are different ways of fasting as well. Step 1, step 2. कोई लोग कुछ भी नहीं खाएंगे. Panchgavya, cow urine, cow dung they eat. Some people do fruits and roots. Some people do fruits and nuts. Like there are different ways of fasting. But Srila Prabhupada, if you see Srila Prabhupada's interaction with his devotees many times, he always focuses on one thing, reading scriptures. एक बार Srila Prabhupada was walking in Vrindavan, and one person was walking next to Prabhupada. One devotee, maybe disciple of Prabhupada or not, one devotee was walking next to Prabhupada, and he was not wearing slip chappal, shoes, in Vrindavan, and going on a parikrama or going on the streets of Vrindavan. And Srila Prabhupada asked him, you are not wearing your shoes? And the disciple responded, Prabhupada, this is Vrindavan. Krishna never wore shoes. And this is Vrindavan. How can I wear shoes here? This is Dham. And Srila Prabhupada said, he responded, that we already do enough tapasya. Our tapasya is reading, chanting, and serving. Our tapasya is reading, chanting, and service. Said we are already doing enough tapasya. Don't add any extra tapasya austerity in your life. Do that nicely. So a lot of devotees do fasting, a lot of different. The main purpose is to do more intense chanting, more good quality chanting, more good quality discussion of the scriptures, learning points, and do service. And that is more. See, if I want, and there are many other Bhagavatam online morning sessions are going on. If I want, I can finish whole chapter in 30 minutes. We can do that also. One verse we read translation, go next verse, read translation, we can finish that. But it's Srila Prabhupada's purpose. Prabhupada has written for us every night. He was waking up at 12 a.m., 1 a.m. and writing for all of this. Is that why he was writing? So that we read translation and skip the purpose? And is that what Prabhupada is? So Bhisma Panchak agar follow karna hai अच्छे से, what does that mean? We stop eating pizza and we stop eating this and that. Is that what Bhisma Panchak is? Srila Prabhupada's desire is we do austerity in terms of reading scriptures and following the instructions which are mentioned in the scriptures. And that is the austerity for us. The austerity for us is to focus nicely on chanting of Krishna's names. And the austerity for us is to do service in the temple, service to the devotees. That is austerity for us. Yes, ठीक है, that is nothing wrong. But by doing that, we should not be not खाया पिया नहीं, कुछ दिन पता चला अच्छे से रीड भी नहीं कर पाए अच्छे से, the headache is happening, the stomach is rumbling and can't even chant properly. What's the point of that kind of austerity? So we have to understand the mood of Prabhupada. Focus on chanting. अपने आप को इतना strong बना लो, इतना अच्छे से माला करते हैं means we are taking shelter of Krishna. We are reading Srimad Bhagavatam. First and second canto are two lotus feet of Krishna. Every morning Krishna is present in a personal form in front of us and we are holding his feet for 30 to 40 minutes. Just imagine, we are reading, scrutinizingly studying Srimad Bhagavatam. Translation, purport, Srila Prabhupada's instructions, the following, the practical application in our life. This is austerity for us. This is the Bhisma Panchaka celebration for us. This is my way of Bhisma Panchaka. So, I don't know whether your question, did we get answer?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Bhisham Panchak. Yes, we got the answer.
Yesterday wala. Friday wala.
Prabhu, again, I don't know the scriptural answer, but as you mentioned, I asked my Prabhu, and it is mentioned like Radharani is looking for Krishna in everyone, though Krishna is in front of her. So similarly, what's the name? Parikshit Maharaj is looking for Krishna in everyone. So that is my understanding, Prabhu. Of course, even if Krishna is in front of him sometimes, but he is looking for Krishna in everyone.
Yeah.
And of course, sometimes Krishna in front of us might not be seen because of Yog Maya as well.
Yeah.
Because, of course, it's Krishna's wish, what he wants to do.
Yeah, definitely. I also tried to search. I couldn't find any specific. See, the way I study scriptures, जब मैं शास्त्र or when I find the answers from the scriptures, I study in a way whether Prabhupada has mentioned or other senior Vaishnava acharyas have mentioned it somewhere. If it's not, then I don't speculate कि ऐसा होगा. If it's mentioned, then it's authorized. Otherwise, who are we to contemplate on subject matters or contemplate on answers? So when I do my research, I try to see, because Vanipedia, Vani source, all Prabhupada lectures, everything is recorded. We can type the word and it's a very nice extensive search is there, so we can find out. So when I did the search, I couldn't find exactly that whether the Krishna present in Hastinapur and having association with Parikshit Maharaj, did Parikshit Maharaj knew it's the same person? nowhere it is mentioned by any, in my research I couldn't find that Parikshit Maharaj knew he Krishna was. So obviously, as you mentioned, by the Maya, Krishna will make such an arrangement. And why Krishna will make certain arrangement? So that it increases the hankering for Lord, the love for Krishna, and he keeps on looking. Parikshit, he is examining everyone. Now, whenever we don't find anything in the scriptures, the direct answer about like this question that Parikshit knew that this Krishna is, and whether why all these things, what I focus on, and this is my way of learning the scriptures, if we don't find the answer, that means we don't have to look for the answer, but we have to look for the learning point for us, practical application for us. उसका परीक्षित और कृष्णा के साथ क्या हो रहा था, वी डोंट नो, बट व्हाट डू वी लर्न फ्रॉम देम, बिकॉज लर्निंग पॉइंट इट्स फॉर अस. At that time what was happening we don't know. Whatever it is, but learning point, practical application, we have to think of Krishna all the time. We have to look for Krishna all the time, wherever we are, at workplace, family situation, this and that. We can, once a person was asking, Prabhuji, how can I think of Krishna at work, and how can I think of Krishna while doing some other activity? And I responded, imagine that person had a love marriage, and I said, remember the time before marriage when you you have met your girlfriend. Even at the mujhe neend na aaye, mujhe chain na aaye, koi jaye jahan dhoond ke laye. I can't sleep, I can't work, I can't focus because I keep on thinking of that particular girl all the time. I said, you are expert in doing this. While doing at work, think of someone else. While doing at sleeping, also thinking of someone else. You are expert. Same thing we have to do is think of Krishna. Even for a devotee's life, practically for us also. How many of you can raise hand and say while chanting, अपना दिमाग कहीं और जाता है? We are having thoughts of work, we are having thoughts of cooking, family, this thing, that thing. The highest amount of brain is working when we are, the best ideas come when we are chanting. तो चैंटिंग के टाइम पे हम कुछ और का सोच सकते हैं, तो कुछ और करने के टाइम पे भगवान का क्यों नहीं सोच सकते? We are already expert in all these things. While doing something, thinking of someone else, we are already expert in doing this. So in the same way, we have to do our work, we have to do our duty, we have to do our family job or whatever it is, and then think of Krishna. We already are doing it. When we chant, we already think of some other things. तो थोड़ा skills है अपने पास, थोड़ा divert करना है, and we have to utilize for Krishna. Once a person went to the bank, HDFC Bank, and that person had a badge, either bank manager. Remind me if I am not smiling. This is part of a customer service program some banks do. Remind me if I am not smiling. तो वो customer के साथ interaction कर रहा है, तो they have to be nicely, smilingly respond to the customer. And so the badge of the manager in the bank, it's to make sure that he is smilingly serving the customer. And in the same way, we all have to have a badge. Nitai Sevini Mataji said, she got a badge made. Remind me if I am not reminding you of Krishna. Whoever we meet, we have to think of Krishna all the time, but we have to make sure that we remind others of Krishna as well. In our talks, in our dealings, in our way of reciprocation, in such a way that we have to remind others of Krishna. So remind me if I am not reminding you of Krishna. You have to make a badge, and then put it here all the time. Does that answer, Aruna Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you so much. It's a nectarian, Prabhu, as always.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Sorry, थोड़ा late हो गया, लेकिन this is Bhisma Panchak special 5 minutes.
Yes.
ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, devotees.